Okay, so let's jump right in. This is this morning's open. As you can see, we've got Friday's volume point of control down here at 67.75. So we're opening above that, although the point of control for the Globex session was below it by a few ticks. For the most part, this is just confluence. And this micro composite stretches over last week. The last 5 days all happen to be in balance, and that is the highest traded price. So I'm expecting this to be kind of a magnet for the session, and if we get a push down to that early, before we get a test higher, then I'm looking for an area there to lean on for longs. And if we get an initiative push away from that to start with, my reversal level is the prior value area high from Friday's session. So as we open up, that doesn't mean that I'm looking necessarily to enter at those levels, but that's where my plan begins, and then I can start to stock longs after that proves to be a reversal level and we get an impulse and a pullback, and vice versa to the high side. So as soon as we open, we get a little bit of a chop and push higher. So there we go, and immediately the thing that catches my attention is the large liquidity that's being pulled on the offer here. So these trades do not intend to actually participate. Let me delete this. Here we go. So now this catches my eye. As we move up here, this is an area of interest for me because this is we haven't tested below the opening swing yet. So the first thing we did was test higher, and we tested to my first hypothesis reversal level at the prior value area high from Friday. And as soon as we move up here, this is interesting to see these algos just go off moving away and moving away. So that tells me to lay off of this. I'm not interested in shorting here. And then it comes back and tests this level again. And as that happens, they stay in the book. We've got 1125 right here that wanted to be sold. And you see this order getting more aggressive here, and just this huge brick wall above of all the orders in the lit book. So as far as we can see anyway. And so that's pretty interesting. As soon as we see that buyers have kind of exhausted here, and these guys are staying in the book, I say, all right, let's get in. Let me slow it down just a touch. So now, I mean, this is a pretty aggressive entry. So I have my full stop here. My full stop is 8 ticks a contract, and I don't really have anything else above. There's no price action from consolidations or anything for me to lean on, so I go ahead and use my full 8 ticks. If it gets up there, I'm wrong. Take the loss. But I'm really relying on these guys to remain aggressive and start to push lower. So this first scale out is going to be right in front of this low. So we have a push down right before the push up, and that's like the most recent swing low basically for me. So it happens to be 8 ticks away. I like for that to be anywhere from 4 to 8 ticks away, and I'll use that as my first scale out, especially when I kind of have a black hole up here of space where it can stop me out. If this causes a collision at 72, the buyers are able to take all the liquidity, then I know I might be in trouble. So like I said, just a really aggressive short here, but I saw what I needed to see to get in, and I took it. So that's my scale out, and then my first target is 3 ticks ahead of the next area of interest for me, which is this entire confluence area, and the closest price for that is the volume point of control from Friday's session. So I front run it by 3 ticks like I do for all of my targets. Okay, so speed it back up a little bit. Let me erase these notes. These rectangles, I'm just highlighting areas of consolidation to use later. So we get a little chop up here, and the longer it does that, the more nervous I'm getting, because I don't want it to be putting in a ton of volume at the extremes here, especially when I'm fading it. And so we get a test down, and you see this liquidity at 70 start to light up. And I don't like that in front of my scale, especially this first scale that's, I'm 8 ticks away, so that's the, really the farthest I want my first scale out to be. And like I said before, there's not a whole lot up here to protect me if we start to turn around. So I'm not going to be a dick for a tick. I'm going to take whatever I can get, especially for this first one, and I can move my other stop to the theoretical average. So as soon as we get a push down here, I want to see what happens at 70 first. I'm not just going to, move my stop. But as you see, the 70 level liquidity is staying in. So they want to participate too. And I'm not getting confirmation from the sellers. I'm not getting that big red dot that says that they're willing to take all of this that's offered. So this liquidity is very passive. The sellers are not exactly being completely aggressive. And we've got a little bit of a move down here, so that's helpful. But I went ahead and moved my scale out up 2 ticks. So I took 6 ticks of profit there for my first scale. So that means my theoretical average has now moved up to, what is that, 73.25 here. All right, and of course, as soon as you move your target, it goes and takes it, and that's what happened. But that's okay. I'm fine with that. I'm just trying to get a little bit of help from my theoretical average here. So I moved my stop down to that. I wouldn't normally play the profit and loss there, but nothing up here. So now we've got a collision right here at 70. So if this comes down to say 69 level where it is currently and pops back up to the 70 level, I'm looking to get short and add on. And then I have this zipper here to back me up against shorts, and I have this zipper up here. And eventually, really 72, they're still in the book. I've got a lot to help out there. So I would be interested if I want to see what happens at 70 basically to add on. And of course, again, I'm not trying to add on blindly. But here we go. We're getting a test of the 70 level. So I mean, so far we've only traded. Let's see how many contracts. We've gotten 8 contracts out of that 70. I kind of want to see the best offer move to 70.25, really. I mean, I want to see a test of this, but that's not enough for me to add in short. And we get a little bit of a seller interest here, but wasn't enough for me. I didn't see enough to add on and keep this trade going. So I took my target, and that wasn't, that's another area that we started to see get brighter and brighter and brighter, but it just came down and on the first test went ahead and went through. So I'm not going to move it just because this gets bright. I want to see the action there also. All right. So now we've got the range is 72 to 68.25. We've got the VWAP is here at 70.5 currently. I think the mid of the range was at 70.25 at this point. So those are areas that I'm interested in catching the continuation of this large move. And of course, we still have that collision at 70. So let's see. Let's fast forward it some here. We see buyers step aside there, fake liquidity. They're pushing up a little bit, but we're not seeing it tested at all. And so here we go. We get the 70.25 test, and we get a little bit of a bounce. I'm ready. I got a lot to lean on up here. Let's go ahead and take it as soon as I see it start to turn over. And so again, we've got the 70 level collision, which I was using, and plenty up here as well between these two areas, which is why those rectangles were drawn in there before. All right, so again, I'm targeting a tick in front of this most recent low, as shown by Morad in a ton of videos, and my stop is above this area of consolidation, 71.5. I'm only taking, it's 6 ticks, it's not bad. And we've got the target is at my next level, which is the MC volume point of control plus 3 ticks. It just happens to be this one also, but I'm not targeting this anymore after I've taken that one. Now, I mean, that being said, if it comes down to this area and looks like it's seeing rejection, then I will move this up a tick, maybe to max. So this one's taken. Theoretical average moves to 71.25. I'll move my stop to the theoretical average. This was a really slow day. We only had 6.5 points of range in the entire session. So this was a tough one to sit through. Now we're starting to see a little bit of a push here, and obviously it didn't get to my level yet, but I'm still okay. I mean, we're seeing some aggression here again on the sellers. It's really a test of this consolidation, and they step right back in and push straight down. And there you go again. I mean, there's another example of liquidity showed up. Liquidity showed up even a tick higher there for a moment, but it came down. As soon as it did, we still have aggressive buyers on the bid, aggressive sellers, excuse me, on the bid, and these algos going off here. You see these just going off. You can see the distance is like exactly the same on each one. Dip, 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 on each of the best bid. So as soon as that happens, I can basically assume that, you know, this is going to get taken, and it did. And so from there, I didn't really have a trade until about 12:30. So let's speed this bad boy up. A lot of chop, a lot of sideways action, a lot of liquidity being pulled on both sides. A nice run up here on the bid. And as we push through the mid, I'm looking for possible areas to lean on, because sellers are unable to get any lower here. I mean, we're knocking on the door here at 67. This is a double bottom, so I'm interested that as far as you know, the order flow goes, you know, I want to get short again to try to attack this double bottom, which has a high percentage of being taken out, or a probability. But every time it comes up here, these, you know, all of this liquidity is being pulled again. So and there's nothing really here to lean on. You know, it's a lower high, that's nice, but I mean, I don't see anything here that tells me that I can get in short back towards this. So we'll speed back up. Let's get it to an area of interest here. I guess we could just move it, huh? So 12:30. Let's get up to there. Around here. Ah! That's not what we wanted to hear. So, all right, here we are. We've got this push up. This is new lows now. All right, so we got new lows, so we've got a fresh mid. The mid is taken out. All this liquidity is pulled, and we have aggression on the liquidity of the bid here, of the buyers. So we get a push up through that area, we get a higher high, and we get another higher low. So now I'm interested in longs from this point. Sellers have not really been able to push any lower than this. What is this? 65 half. This turned out to be ended up being the low of the day, I believe. Yeah, so they just couldn't, didn't have the conviction to keep pushing. And so we get a test here, and that's my long. All right, I didn't take the long here, which was I was looking for. Let's see if I can stretch this out for you. So we've got this area of consolidation halfway up this move. And so this was an area I was looking at, and as you can see, a lot of interest came in here on the bid, but sellers took all of it, so I didn't get long. That was definitely an area of interest for me. The developing VPOC was around here all day, so we got to push through it, a push through the Virgin mid test, a pull back to it, and I was stalking long from that level, but then this happened and they took all this liquidity. So at that point, that trade idea was off. So now we get a move back up and another pullback to this area. So now I'm leaning here and I'm looking long from this consolidation. And that's what we got, okay? I saw these guys, it came down slowly, the liquidity's here. You know, it's really easy. I'm only taking 4 ticks of heat here because I can put my stop right below all of this action. So right there, 66.50. That's why it's there. Sellers have proved to me that they weren't into it today, so we've turned around. I got a pullback to an area of interest for longs. I'm looking for a scale out at 68.75 and eventually 71.25. And this one did not end up working out. Although, had I had there's my stop out, so I'm done for the day. And then that was it. I mean, that was the low after that. That was the lowest swing low. So I just took that one on the chin, but you know, had I put my tick at, or my stop at 8 ticks away, where were we here? 66.50, 65 half. We would have needed lower lows to stop me out, which would have been smarter in hindsight. But I figure, you know what? If sellers have been in control for most of the day, if they're going to step in here, I expect them to do it here. So I was looking for this really to start to move below that level. So that's why that stop was so aggressive. And of course, I would have gotten the scale out there. And by the end of the day, we came all the way back up to retest the 72 level. Turned out to be the high of the day. And a double top at that. One on the opening swing and then one right at the end of the day there. So that's that. Hope it helps you guys. Take it easy.